Sometimes the best journey is a journey home. From Melbourne, Australia, Nyok is going back home, back to South Sudan. He left there 26 years ago, a barefoot kid fleeing an over 50-year-long civil war. He was just 8 years old, one of the 40,000 lost boys who trekked across the desert to Ethiopia.
I've committed to heal over from my struggle and trauma of war that continue to affect my country at this time. And now I want to take this healing back to my country that is still in the middle of trauma.
Every part of our lives is a journey. This is Nyok's journey, the journey his country needs to take and the journey that you can be part of.
Hi, I'm Tim Costello from World Vision. I am really happy to be recommending a journey by Nyok and his Australian-born wife Catherine as they go back to South Sudan, a partnership with the government to run a conference in April on healing and reconciliation, desperately needed in South Sudan. And I'm so happy to recommend it because Nyok, his story is incredible. At the age of 8, with so many others of the lost boys of South Sudan, they fled to Ethiopia. They had been trained as child soldiers in a war that was one of Africa's longest running civil wars. Now, some 26 years later, with a beautiful Australian wife, he's going back, and he's going back to be a force for healing and for reconciliation.
After 50 years of 2 civil wars in Sudan, more than 2 million lives were lost. Over 4 million people were displaced across the world as refugees from the Sudan, and more than 5 decades of war have left behind so much damage, trauma, tribal ethnic conflict, and division among South Sudanese people. And that has had a significant impact on the lives of millions of South Sudanese at this particular time, where a lot of tribal conflict have really increased. After spending 8 to 9 years in a refugee camp in Kenya, I got resettled to Australia as a refugee. I got a degree and started working and met my beautiful wife, Catherine. But the old scars of war have remained. During the war, there has been so much division among ethnic communities in South Sudan, and that has increased due to these various groups struggling over power, resources. In 2012, I received the news of my cousin who was killed during the conflict. And that challenged me in a way that I had to make some tough decisions. And at the same time, I also initiated a conversation with friends from the other ethnic group. One of them from Murle community, a tribal group that is involved in a fight with my community, which is Dingabor. We build trust with each other, and we continue to strengthen that by increasing the discussion among the community members here in Melbourne. People from Initiative of Change that has also been really supporting us in this dialogue. We've continued to bring members of these communities together here in Australia to have an honest and frank conversation on how to really break down this mistrust and find a common ground together. Dr. Nyok, the Vice President, has been wrestling with himself on how to bring healing. He spoke frankly on a bitter history.
Reconciliation is the most difficult to achieve, particularly in a country that has fought for a very long time. Sometimes in an armed struggle, you would be fighting the person you think is the oppressor. Sometimes you would turn against your own selves when you differ. This happened in our case in South Sudan. The conflict was so intense that innocent people died. But we have not achieved reconciliation because our people are still divided. It needs us to take bold steps so that our people can reconcile. And I offered my apology to people who were affected.
In September this year, Nyok and I travelled to South Sudan. It was Nyok's first time in South Sudan since he left as a child 26 years ago. When we were there, we met with the Initiatives of Change team and had a meeting with Dr. Nyok, the Vice President, and many others representing the government and other groups in South Sudan. Before we left South Sudan, the Vice President's wife, Angelina Ten, asked Nyok and I to come back to South Sudan and work on this campaign for reconciliation. It was a big challenge for Nyok and I to leave our jobs and our families here to commit to this project, but it's something that we believe in and something that we believe we have a part to play in.
Using approach that initiative of change, a movement of people that work on trust building, personal transformation, forgiveness, and other moral values that we all consider ourselves as equal human beings would be the best way to bring people of South Sudan together and bring this healing.
So an episode like this, a journey like this, requires support. Of course, they're doing it very frugally, but they need to raise about $75,000. A very small investment when you think of the hopes and the possibilities that can come out of a conference on healing and reconciliation. So please support them, and I'm very proud to both know them and recommend their work.
We can all be on this journey of healing and be part of making it happen. We need $75,000 by April. We really need your help. Go to www.au.ifc.org.